So we have series markets already for 7 of 8 series. Conn Smythe markets are starting to populate, and we absolutely love it. And joining us right now to break it down, giving us and you, dear listener and dear viewer, the first look, the first taste as it concerns the Stanley Cup playoffs, is the very handsome, the Silver Fox, the great Dennis Bernstein. Sirius XM NHL Radio, the fourth period, on Twitter at Dennis TFP. Dennis, happy Stanley Cup playoffs, my friend, to you and yours.
Yes, through the desert of the 82-game schedule that the NHL plays, we're finally getting a payoff on Saturday, so can't wait. Very intriguing matchups in the first round, Nick and Femi. Can't wait till the puck drops for real for game 83.
Can I give you just here's a piece of advice for you, and I think I think you're great. You can't do like the desert of the season without. You got to say like the oasis is the playoffs, right? You got to pay it off, man. Come on.
Yeah, no, it's okay. Yeah, this is a big payoff, and I think it's wide open because the two teams at the top of the food chain in the East and the West, they're not powerhouses. They're excellent teams, but they have holes. They're susceptible, and I think the one irony, if you look at Winnipeg and St. Louis, look at the two goaltenders. The American is playing for the Canadian team, and the Canadian who beat the American is playing for the American team in St. Louis. So Binnington versus Hellebuck. So it's going to be really interesting. But I think, look, the first round is like March Madness. So for fans that are casual fans that maybe don't watch the Stanley Cup playoffs as close as they should because they're amazing, I think this round has the ability for the lower seeds to come through and more than one.
Do you think here, buddy, can we do all 8 series here in the next 11 minutes? What do you think?
Yep.
You tell me.
No question.
Let's do it.
Yep.
All right. Oh, I absolutely love it. Why don't we start with Winnipeg and St. Louis? Because it's a really interesting dichotomy, right? Like Winnipeg President's Trophy, Hellebuck might win the Hart Trophy, going to be in contention to win. But Binnington's got the Stanley Cup, and Binnington beat Hellebuck in the Four Nations final, right, with Canada over the United States. Winnipeg, minus 215, Blues plus 176. Dennis, I will lead into this question by telling you I might lay it with Winnipeg here, as crazy as that sounds. What do you think we see with Winnipeg and St. Louis?
St. Louis is a very dangerous team, Nick. They are. Because of the goaltender, because they're hot down the stretch, because they got a great coach. And I'm sure the Bruins will like Montgomery back right now as the coach. They're a dangerous team. They can beat the Winnipeg Jets because the Winnipeg Jets, remember last year, Nick, this time? Winnipeg, they came in first, and then they played the Colorado Avalanche and lost in 5.
Yeah, it was bad.
So their body of work in the playoffs, Nick, is not there. They're susceptible to a team like the Blues that has depth. Colton Parayko's coming back to a 6'6" defenseman, the Blues. This is a longer series. This is not a short series for Winnipeg. If they do get through, it'll certainly prime them for the next round. But St. Louis has the ability to win this round.
So are you picking St. Louis? Will St. Louis win the series plus 176 against Winnipeg?
I'll say Winnipeg in 7, but I'm not sold on it. Let me see the first 2 games.
Love that. Femi and I will talk about maybe Winnipeg in 7 being the bet in the series when we roll through everything on tomorrow's edition of the show. I want to stay in the Western Conference, Dennis. This Oilers-Kings series is fascinating. This is now the 4th straight year that these two teams will meet in the first round. Great job, Gary Bettman. Oilers have won the last 3, but this Kings team feels like this is the best iteration, and we were talking about that off air before we came on live this hour. Edmonton is minus 130, despite the Kings having home ice in the series. Kings plus 110. I actually think I'm going to bet Los Angeles to win the series against Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, and the Oilers. Where do you stand here on the Oilers and the Kings?
Well, I wouldn't have bet the Kings the last 3 series. They were not the better team. And last year, not only did they lose in 5, they got bullied. But what did Rob Blake do in L.A. as the general manager? He went out and got Tanner Jeannot, who's a great fighter. He went out and saw Joe Edmondson, who's a 6'6" defenseman. Right now, they drafted a kid who's 6'6" and 200 pounds as their 4th-line center. Last year, their 4th-line center was 5'9" and 185. This is a bigger, better Los Angeles team, and they have a guy who's going to be probably a finalist for the Vezina in Darcy Kemper. This is the best version of the Kings the Oilers will face, and because the Oilers are minus money, it's because of 2 reasons. Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl. The rest of the team isn't as good. It's not. Skinner and Net isn't as good. They're the oldest team in the league, believe it or not. And they lost Matthias Ekholm, who's the best defenseman. If you're ever going to bet the Kings against the Oilers, it's now. I think they can win in 6. They have home ice advantage. Everything's trending towards it. Now, Connor McDavid tried to lay it up today and say, we're not as banged up as we think. Really? Like all these guys haven't played for weeks. Like Liam missed 9 games. If it's ever going to be the year for the Kings to beat the Oilers, this is now, Nick.
And just if the audience doesn't remember, like Darcy Kemper literally won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago with the Colorado Avalanche when they beat the
2022 he did.
2020. I mean this. I didn't know the year, so I don't know which one. I forgot.
Oh, you got me.
Let's stay in. I'm being serious here. You were an oasis in the midst of my speaking desert just now. Avalanche and the Stars. This series is going to be freaking awesome, man. Dallas has home ice, but Colorado's favored. Colorado minus 125, Stars plus 105. This is like a Western Conference final worthy series. What do you like, Colorado and Dallas here in about 60 seconds?
I like the lower seed Colorado. Here's why. They have Cale Makar, who as a defenseman scored 30 goals, which rarely happens. And Dallas doesn't have Miro Heiskanen, who's their best defenseman. Now, Tyler Seguin's going to come back and play Dallas's last game. That's a great ad. I like Colorado. Here's the one thing about Colorado. If you like Dallas and want to play them, Wedgwood and Blackwood are the 2 goaltenders for Colorado. You know how many playoff games they've won? As many as me, you, and Femi. Neither guy's won a playoff game. So that's the one concern about the goaltending. Not that I love Jake Ottinger, because I think he cost them the series last year against Edmonton. I like Colorado because I just love Cale Makar and their depth at center. They go McKinnon, Brock Nelson they got from the Islanders, and Charlie Coyle, who's a 2C or a 1C in other teams. He's the 3C. The depth at center, Cale Makar. I like Colorado over Dallas in this round.
You bet here on this Wednesday. The Silver Fox, Dennis Bernstein, Sirius XM NHL Radio in the 4th period, giving us bets on the Stanley Cup playoffs on Twitter at DennisTFP. Dennis, let's clear the West, then we'll get to the East. The Vegas Golden Knights, a pretty big favorite against the Minnesota Wild. Vegas about minus 225, Minnesota plus 190. I think this is going to be interesting here. I think I would lean towards laying it with Vegas. What say you, Vegas and Minnesota?
It's the least interesting matchup in the West. 5 games, maybe a sweep. Sorry, Vegas is ready. They were pissed about last year going out, not doing well in the playoffs. And I think the best thing about, the Wild is that Marc-Andre Fleury might get another game. Too deep, too good. I know they're getting back to Minnesota's getting back to 2 guys, Kaprizov and Harrison Ek. Not close. This is not going to be a close series. It's going to be a breeze, and it's going to help Vegas in the next round when they face the winner of Edmonton and LA. Easy for Vegas in this one.
Dennis, let's get over to the Eastern Conference, the series that I'm most looking forward to seeing in the first round, Panthers and the Lightning. The Panthers right now, the favorite to win the Eastern Conference. Sounds like they're going to get Matthew Tkachuk back, who we haven't seen since the Four Nations face-off. But Tampa has been as hot as anybody. I mean, they've been better down the stretch than Florida. How do you see this series playing out? Who wins in the Battle of the Sunshine State?
Femi, if you go with trends, the Panthers are crawling to the finish line. They're tired. They've played a lot of hockey. They went to the Cup final 2 years ago and lost. They won it last year. They look like a really tired team. I'm not sure if Matthew Tkachuk even comes back for the first round. If he does, how effective is it going to be? This might be relatively easy. And it's going to be a war, right? Because the Panthers are not going to go down easy. But I like the Tampa Bay Lightning. I actually like them to come out of the East, to be honest with you. I think it could be a rematch of 2022. But right now, I like the Tampa. They're playing great, and just the Panthers, they just look just like a very, very tired team. So it won't be easy because of the angst between the 2 teams, but I do like Tampa Bay in this round.
Let's go to the Ottawa-Toronto matchup. So Toronto beats Buffalo the other night and wins the division. So Toronto going to play Ottawa in the first round series in a Canada matchup. I don't know if people know this, probably not. Ottawa swept the regular season series against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Dennis, I like Ottawa in the series. I'm going to bet the Senators as an underdog in the series. What say you, Senators and Leafs in the Eastern Conference?
They don't call you sharp for nothing, Nick. Yeah, this is the one series. Yeah, this is the one series I think the lower seed team can win because I just don't trust Toronto in the playoffs. I don't. And it's funny. There's 3 teams in the East: Buffalo, Detroit, and Ottawa. One team got a goalie, Ottawa, and they're in the playoffs. This is a very, very dangerous round for the Toronto Maple Leafs. I think that's a smart bet by you. I wouldn't be shocked if Ottawa came out of this round and won.
And Linus Ullmark, the former Vezina winner for the Boston Bruins, the goalie here for the Ottawa Senators. All right, Carolina and New Jersey. The Hurricanes minus 275, a huge favorite here. The Devils plus 225. A Carolina deserved favorite. Dennis, my issue with the Hurricanes is they're playoff choke artists, man. And that doesn't mean they have to lose in the first round. They make me a little nervous. Do the Hurricanes make you nervous in the series here against New Jersey?
No, but the series makes me sleepy. It's boring. I don't care. Neither one of these teams are going to win. You're right about Carolina. You can't trust their goaltending. And the Devils are so banged that no Jack Hughes, they're banged up. It's Carolina. The winner of this round will lose the next round. Like, I don't trust Carolina. They botched the trade with Rantanen. This is the least threatening matchup of the 8, and it's the least entertaining. I have to watch all of them because, I'm covered the league. But I like Carolina here, but I don't think they're a threat to win the Stanley Cup.
All right, big time lightning round to close here. The Washington Capitals await whoever the final wildcard team is in the East. Montreal has the inside track. A point in their game tonight gets Montreal to the playoffs. If Montreal loses tonight and Columbus wins tomorrow, the Blue Jackets are the final wildcard team in the East. Any reason to believe Alex Ovechkin and the Caps would be on upset alert in round 1 against either Montreal or Columbus?
No, it's a great story if either one of these teams gets in, because playoff games at Bell Center, or the story of Columbus with the Joe brothers passing away and them rallying here with Jet Graves, who came out of nowhere. He came out of the minor leagues to win the last 3 games. No threat here. But Washington, if you're betting Washington to win a Stanley Cup, I'm not convinced of them right now. Not this round, though, Nick. This should be relatively easy. I think 5 games, whether it's Montreal or Columbus, but either team getting in is a great story for the league and for the fan bases in both cities.
I'll tell you what, man. If Jet Greaves or Graves is how you pronounce his last name, the Columbus goalie.
Oh,
Jet Greaves?
I think it's Greaves.
Yeah, it's Greaves. That's how it's spelled. I'll tell you what, man. If Columbus makes it, I'm betting the Blue Jackets in Game 1 against Washington, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
You're up. Yeah, Dennis is like, well, you're an idiot. Thanks, buddy. Great to have you on the show. Your Stanley Cup final matchup right now before it all starts, Colorado-Tampa. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but that's what it sounded like.
Yeah, rematch of 2022, Colorado and Tampa. I love the way these teams are playing. I love their depth. A little question mark in goaltending, as I mentioned, Colorado. But the deep teams, the teams with depth that have 4 lines that can roll and have 3 scoring lines, those are the teams you want to play. And I like Colorado. It'll be a battle if other teams come out, but I do like these 2 teams right now, Nick, as a rematch of 2022. And maybe Colorado does a trick again. And remember, they're going to get back Gabriel Landeskog, who hasn't played in 3 years. What an emotional boost for that team, if nothing else, for this guy. It might be a scenario like 2022 with Steven Stamkos coming back and, in the bubble and winning. I think an emotional boost, but I think these are the 2 best teams right now, even though they're not the top seeds in either conference.
That sounds like you'd be a little rusty. Dennis, you're awesome. At Dennis TFP on Twitter, Sirius XM NHL Radio, the 4th period. One-word answer, just the last name. Who wins Conn Smythe?
Wins Conn Smythe? Cale Makar.
Ask for one word. It's always great
Makar.
having you, though. Thank you.